Hi everyone, I thought I'll do a short video teaching you how to set up the WinRadius in week 4's lab. Now, in week 4, we're going to set up a WinRadius server on PCA. But if you follow the instruction there, you'll find that there is a error message about missing database. So WinRadius have a technical problem on PCA in week 4. So to solve the problem, we're going to introduce or manually fix the missing database by creating a database on the desktop directory ourselves. So to begin, this is what we have to do. So step 1, set up the IP address correctly for PCA 192.168.1.3. So this one have nothing to do with the problem itself, but I thought I'll show you the setup process. So let's go to PCA, go to the search here. So to set up the IP address, just do Control Panel. Look for Network and Sharing Center. Okay, here the lab, there's only one interface that we can use to set up. Okay, there's only one active interface, physical interface. So we click on Properties, go to IPv4 and set up the IP address 192.168.1.3. So if default is a Class C address. So okay. Just to double check, you can go to the DOS prompt, do a IP config. So you will see that 192.168.1.3 has been configured on the Ethernet interface. Of course, you can ping yourself just to test for connectivity. 192.168, it's working. Cool. Now, the next thing that you need to do is we will go to the search bar here and do ODBC. ODBC data source. So we're going to create the missing database manually. So what you do is you go to the system DSN data source, okay, go to the system data source, okay. So we're going to add a database manually. So the database is Microsoft Access database. Okay. Cool. Then we're going to create the database manually. So the name of the database is WinRadius, just like the name of the software, MDB. Remember the extension is MDB. So where are we going to create this WinRadius MDB? Okay, so well, what we're going to do is we're going to create this in the we're going to create this in the user's desktop. Okay, so you go to the user system admin, look for desktop. Okay, users system admin desktop. So user system admin desktop. Okay, let me repeat that. user system admin desktop. Okay. So we're going to create on the desktop here. So you say it was successfully created. Now, of course, on the visually, you'll see a WinRadius database setup. Okay, the Windows database setup. So now you can do WinRadius program. So when you do WinRadius program, so you see the ODBC failed kind of thing. Okay, so first thing, go to the system. So we enter the IP address of this computer. So we are telling WinRadius, hey, this server is going to be 192.168.1.3. So it doesn't have the intelligence to auto pick the IP address. So you have to manually inform the WinRadius what IP address is PCA. So in this case, 192.168.1.3. Now the next thing you need to do is database. Okay, database. Now because they are looking for the WinRadius database, okay, so we have already manually created the Win database. So connect to this database. and say okay, so it has successfully connected to it. Now the next thing you need to do is create the Radius database. So imagine the database is just an empty database, so you're going to create your username password database in there. So you're going to go advanced, create the Radius database in this database that you have created. Cool. Then when you're done, you exit it. Cool. Now when you exit it, basically you have to start it again, because unfortunately WinRadius is a free program, so any changes that you made has to be initialized by rebooting the service. Okay, so we reboot the service by just shutting it down and bringing it up again. Okay, so the database engine cannot find the, okay, so let's try again. System, correct, database, WinRadius database. Okay, then after that, create Radius database. Okay, just please restart to take effect. So okay, let's start again. Now it's working. Okay, now remember, if it doesn't work, you just try again. Make sure that the setting system is the correct IP address. Okay, and then database is able to connect to that winradius.mdb. For the first time, you have to do create radius table. Okay, now basically it's working. So as you can see, 0 users loaded. It's listening to the port 1812, 1813. Okay, ready to perform Radius Authentication services. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new test user. So let's say test, and the password is test123. Okay, so again, if you're not sure, just restart the service just to be on the safe side. Technically just now I don't have to do it, but okay, see, 1 user were loaded because I just created 1 user in this table. So now to test whether my WinRadius is working, before I open it up to my routers to do Radius connection to this service, there is a Radius test program that I can run. Okay, so the 192.168.1.3, the password is test123, username is test, password is test123. So if I send, I have this, but what I need to do is check on the WinRadius server. So can you see user test authenticated? Okay, so this shows me that the user has been successfully authenticated via the WinRadius database. So this one becomes a test client that connects to, that queries the WinRadius server using the Radius protocol and asks to be authenticated using the local database maintained by the WinRadius server. And the response is a resounding success because I entered the right credentials. So let's say I enter the wrong credentials, I will have authentication failed because I entered the incorrect password. So that's it, guys. To summarize, bottom line is, before you do the WinRadius protocol, the program, you have to use the ODBC to manually set up the missing database on the Windows desktop. Okay, on the Windows desktop, so that this program have a database to connect to, and within this database, okay, we create the Radius table. One MDB can contain many tables. One database in this case can contain many data tables. It's just that here we are just going to create one. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.